Well, today, the LGBTQ community is able to openly celebrate the freedom to be themselves. That wasn't the case in the early 80s.
Tonight, the story of how KPIX got involved in the AIDS crisis and became part of the solution.
The city of San Francisco. Imagine more than 40 years ago. The date, June 26, 1978. The occasion, the Gay Freedom Day Parade with lots to celebrate. Harvey Milk has just become a San Francisco supervisor, the first openly gay official in California. And for those who lived in the Castro, the future looked bright.
People here are celebrating. They're celebrating their liberation, their freedom to come out of the closet and to be gay people unafraid. They hope and they fear, but they are walking out of the closet and in such great numbers that they are encouraged with themselves to think that they won't be stuffed back in the closets by anybody else.
But by 1981, a lethal virus was already silently spreading within the gay community. On June 5th, a CDC report, 5 gay men in Los Angeles, all previously healthy, diagnosed with a rare pneumonia.
I thought that was a fluke, actually. I didn't know what to make of it. I thought perhaps these men were taking some drugs that were compromising their immune system.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, at that time 40, and an immunologist at NIH. Soon a second report would shake him to the core. More cases of gay men sickened with pneumonia as well as a rare cancer, fungal infections, and dramatic weight loss.
And that, to me, I was completely flawed, and I describe it as I was getting kind of goosebumps because I realized that this is a brand new disease.
By 1982, that disease finally got a name.
AIDS, the acquired immune deficiency syndrome.
The disease known as AIDS.
The disease AIDS. On the disease AIDS.
I'd heard about the AIDS epidemic, but I had not reported on it at all.
In the summer of 1983, KPIX hired a young reporter named Jim Bunn. His very first story involved the safety of the nation's blood supply. Whatever was making these patients sick was transmitted through blood.
I'll be real honest with you. From that first story, from that first day, I could see that it was this huge event.
KPIX management agreed.
There was a commitment from the very beginning to focus on the science.
The station made a monumental decision to extensively cover the developing epidemic with nightly news reports and in-depth specials packed with information.
AIDS is not just a gay disease.
Bunn became the station's first dedicated AIDS reporter.
And I just saw this remarkable big story that had international intrigue with researchers racing to find the cause, then trying to find the cause. Everybody died. Everybody died.
Tonight, there's a doctor in San Francisco who
In
says
its coverage, KPIX broke new ground. Explicit detail was used to explain how the disease was spread so viewers could protect themselves.
I mean, we put condoms on bananas on television to show people the right way to put on a condom.
Also on the team, former anchor and reporter Hank Plant.
I'm proud of the work that we all did at the station in those years.
What was your reaction when they said, Jeff, you've tested positive for AIDS?
Well, I asked my doctor to leave the room so I could cry.
KPIX was the first station allowed to broadcast live from inside the AIDS ward at SF General. Former KPIX talk show host Ross McGowan remembers.
We went in and so much information came out of that about just the human side of this thing.
PIX also began a public health campaign known as AIDS Lifeline. The program was nationally syndicated to 55 other TV markets.
We had them take the money that they would have paid for the use of the AIDS Lifeline name and donate that money to local AIDS support groups.
Public health experts were grateful, but not everyone was pleased.
And you know, I have to say, we got hate mail. I got hate mail, the station got hate mail. I remember calls coming in saying, too much with the gays on TV, too much with AIDS on TV. It did not deter my bosses at all. We lived up to what's written on the license when you have a television station, which is to serve the public's good.
Reporters detailed one lasting legacy from the AIDS epidemic that's still practiced today, the creation of the San Francisco model of care.
There were people from different specialties, cancer specialists, skin specialists, infectious disease specialists, who suddenly found themselves around the bed of the same patient.
Act up! Fire back!
AIDS triggered an intense activism that was shared by patients as well as medical staff.
Way back in the early years of HIV, what San Francisco did, the creativity of developing a ward for persons with HIV at the San Francisco General Hospital, you know, the activism that went way back. When you look for leadership in addressing an outbreak and doing it in a very sensitive, effective way, San Francisco is second to none anywhere. So that's the reason why we always look to San Francisco when you want to talk about leadership and responding appropriately and effectively to an outbreak.
In San Francisco, Alan Martin, KPIX 5.